we're here for each other, and we're here because we're developing as men, and we want to understand how to be that phenomenal man for our spouse or for the next woman in our life.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves.
Well, welcome to the C Note Show, everyone, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. You are here because you want to learn how to be phenomenal in modern relationship. You're either separated, or she said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I need space. I never loved you. You've always been controlling, these kind of gut-wrenching, heart pounding and throbbing pains that we have in the middle of the night that Cynthia and I both experienced in past relationships. And that's why you're here. You're here because this is where we do our daily work as men. You want to understand the three forms of confidence: behavioral, emotional, and spiritual. And you want to know where Jackson's Hole is because apparently it's Jackson Hole, Wyoming, not Jackson's Hole is where we are. where we are right now. We're outside the main lodge. What is this? Like the main restaurant and the main lodge here, Cynthia?
It's the John something ranch.
We're very prepared here on the C Note Show. Yeah, so we're in northwestern Wyoming. We're going to head to Montana tomorrow. Yesterday in the show, we shared pictures of the beautiful Grand Teton Mountains that we're near here, and Jackson's Lake. We're near Jackson's Bay right now in one of the campgrounds. Phenomenal. So, gentlemen, the only woman allowed on this show is Miss Cynthia Cruz here, my fiance, for her professional feminine perspective. We're both professional coaches. We've had our own private practice for about 4 years now, and we work full-time with men that, like me in 2015, came to this work because I experienced death by female, as we call it in the tribe, which has to deal with feeling absolutely crushed and surprised when she says, I'm not in love with you any longer. I'm not sure I want this. I'm not sure about you is what I heard for 6 months while in, couples therapy after she dropped the bomb, and then experienced the big D, the big D-Day, not the historic D-Day, my own personal D-Day. And that's why you're here, because you want to understand what to do about that, how to move forward, potentially save your marriage, which we help guys with every single day as well in our one-on-one coaching, or to learn the skills through this show and the tribe here, guys, the tribe that we have of other men, to be that Spartan shoulder to shoulder and help each other up out of the mud when we need to. And that's where our opening post in the private Facebook forum is from today, where a man who is a regular on here and a seasoned veteran in this work has fallen, it's down in the mud, and he's reaching out for us to help him pick up out of the mud. So, Cynthia, let's say hi to our men today. And if you'd please honor the men that are here, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, good morning and happy Tuesday. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be able to sit here with you in this tribe. I truly appreciate your acceptance and allowing me into this very sacred group. I don't take that for granted for a moment. And every day when I look to see who is here, it makes my day and brightens my world. And and put the screen to the side. I just want to say hello to Andy and Walters and Tim. Thanks for being here again. Rob is here. Reuben is here. Randy, thank you so much for your suggestions of some places to go in Jackson Hole. I really appreciate that. You always have your finger on the pulse of what we need to do and where we need to go. And Patrick is here, of course, and Joseph. Oh, it's so good to see you. Jason is here. Jason, Jack, Harry, Hans, thank you for being here. Andy, thank you for being here. This is, I'm really looking forward to today and this week.
You guys are so phenomenal. Thanks for joining us from the road. We're on vacation this week, the week after 4th of July, 2020. It's 11:06 here now, Mountain Time. I say the time when I open the show, July 7th. And we love that you guys are here. I have some comedy. We always start with some comedy. I'm still doing that from the road for you guys. This one's called The 6 Personalities, Your 6 Drunk Personalities. So when you get drunk, these are the 6 personalities that come out. But before I show that, And I have a Brene Brown clip today. I've got a quote from her, phenomenal. If you haven't heard that one and you're a leader in any capacity in your life, which of course all of us are, gentlemen, right? We want to be leaders in our lives. That one's awesome. And I've got a quote from her audiobook, as well as a video from her where one of her guest spots on Oprah as well. She talks about the 3 ways we get out of shame, how to move through shame as fast as possible, which is phenomenal. So, but before I get into the comedy, I'm going to go over here and share our post from the forum like I always do. So yeah, here on the C-Note Show, we do our daily work as men. That's why you're here, to be in this tribe of kick-ass. Look at that. Love that lion picture. He's just like, yeah, I'm the man. So this week, our theme is healing spiritual wounds. We talked yesterday about times in the past when we as men have felt disrespected or we felt betrayed, and just bringing that to the men is a healing step in and of itself. And that's one thing that this man, so yesterday we read this post, which I want to leave up here actually for the week, and we'll touch on this on and off, because this is a question that I think every single man that I work with asks at one point or another, right? Whether in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. when he wakes up sweating like I did in 2015, or after he's been doing this work for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and he asks, at what point does one decide to declare an official time of death to a relationship? And by the way, guys, if we don't think she's asked herself this question, then we're joking ourselves as well, because she's probably asked herself this question way before we were asking ourselves that question right now. So that's something to consider. And here's a post from a man in the forum I want to read right now. This work is never done, or ever evolving more, I should say. I was stressed out about money. The new place we came to had plumbing issues right off the bat, and also the future of my job. I'm walking around the house unpacking, and internally just an anxious mess. I'm thinking about things that have not come to pass or things I have no control over. And I hear my kids giggling in the pool outside, having the time of their life, oblivious to the turmoil Dad is having. What the fuck gives me the authority to walk around holding this stuff? It feels like he's still holding on to stuff, and he's still really anxious about it. And that's what he's sharing with us. Nothing I'm giving myself permission to feel like shit and worry too much. So he's giving himself permission to feel like shit is what I think he's saying. He's like doing it for himself. He's doing it to himself. So I let these little heartwarming giggles deep into my soul from his children, and we had a great time experiencing the city. Learned some valuable things. Cross-country moves with 2 dogs, 3 cats, and a super pregnant wife and 3 kids is not for the faint of heart and expensive. Yeah, no shit. Wow. 2 dogs, 3 cats, a pregnant wife, and 3 kids moving across country. Oh my goodness. Your attitude is always your choice. If you want to be grumpy, you're going to have to do that on your own. Stop worrying so fucking much. So this man is almost like healing himself, Cynthia, along the way. He's calling it out and asking for support from the tribe. And even at the end, it's we can almost will ourselves to intellectually say, I'm doing this to myself, it's all going to be okay. And yet we don't feel that way, right? So share with us what it's like when men bring these things to the forum like this, and what you see it do to their energy. So as a woman, you see a man bring the stuff to the men, like Dr. Robert Glover would say, or like we would say, here is bring your stuff to the men so you're not asking her to wear your therapy hat. What do you see that does for a man, and what does that feel like for you when he's actually taking it to the guys in a healthy way?
Well, it's actually deeply humbling, because I do think that women can do a really good job of holding onto things and like storing hurts, pains, frustrations, and then kind of using that as like an anchor point and a place to push off from, and so they don't want to let go. What I see you do, and what I see you all do in the forum, is you take the real stuff, the raw stuff, the fire, the things that are frightening and stressful, and you kind of dive into the pool with it like it's the rock, and you use the energy of a group of men to work it, make it malleable, change it, transmute it, and then you come out the other side of the water. And from a woman's perspective, it's a big relief. I feel like I don't have to be afraid or worry or stress that, well, what if this doesn't get taken care of? What if, the man in my life is like a woman and he has to store these things and hold on to them? It's like, oh, this is how we process things. We dive into the water and we come out the other side with what was coal and rock now is the piece of gold. And that's quite, again, humbling and quite magical to me. So,
oh my gosh, thank you so much. Turning rock and coal into gold is exactly what I feel like guys do on our farm. So that's really brilliant. Fantastic. So gentlemen, I want to share our opening screen. Again, this week has been a little out of order. We're here on the C Note Show because we want to learn as men how to have more hugs, kisses, affection, and sex. We're here for each other, and we're here because we're developing as men, and we want to understand how to be that phenomenal man for our spouse or for the next woman in our life. Phenomenal. You are starting to rise as a man. And if you, I'm laughing already about this comedy sketch I want to show you right now, which is from College Humor, which has so many different, there've been over a decade of sketch comedy from this YouTube channel I just found about, 3 weeks ago. And this one is the 6 personalities when you are drunk. The 6 personalities that come out when you are drunk. Here we go.
This is you.
Catherine, again. Come on, man. We're going out tonight.
This is the bar you're going to. And these are your 6 drunk personalities. About 15 minutes after your first drink or two, he arrives.
Oh my G. You guys are fucking beautiful.
Charming, confident, he's you without all the annoying insecurities or inhibitions.
That was the weirdest dog dick I've ever seen.
He also reminds you a little inhibition isn't always a bad thing.
Hey, man, maybe you should,
Socks? Great idea.
take it easy.
He's also not a great listener. You've never thought of yourself as a funny guy.
And if you're in the water with them, this is scary.
I'm sorry, I have to be the center of attention right now.
But he does. His act is a brilliant combination of all the best movie jokes he can't quite remember.
You gotta get in my belly! Do not go in there! I'm from San Diego, which means my wife's vagina.
Hey, I'll be back, right, bud?
Don't worry. He always knows how to win back an audience.
Guy up front, huh?
Funny boy's gone. It's time for a man of
Will, it
action.
was an accident. I'll buy you a drink.
Listen up. If we don't do a backflip off that table right now, none of these girls are gonna make out with us.
Where'd you get that
I
jacket?
stole it from a waitress. Stay here.
It's too dark to wear those sunglasses, man. You're gonna get hurt.
He's highly trained. Just yesterday, he watched a parkour video on YouTube. As far as he can remember, he's never blown a stunt.
He's a really nice guy. He's just having a tough week.
His memory isn't that great. Enough foolishness. It's time for a man of wealth and taste.
You dare serve such swill to Reginald T. Moneypants, the richest man in Fancy Town?
Reginald struck it rich in the part-time office manager industry. Now he makes almost $30,000 a year.
I demand liqueur from your highest shelf in your most oddly shaped bottle.
Kosher cinnamon tequila.
Thank you.
His taste
For everyone.
is matched only by his generosity. The only thing he can't afford is for the bartender to realize that's just a Dave & Buster's player points card. Fine motor control. Speaking English. You had these things figured out. He does not.
Come on. Use big boy words.
All he can think about is food and breasts.
Movies! No. Movies! Those aren't for you.
The worst parts are his mood swings.
You're a bad turtle! Come on! Dance with me! Oh, shit!
Seriously, man?
At least he's a really good sleeper. Fried food, Gatorade, Alka-Seltzer, vitamin B, possibly dog hair. All of them. Now. You can't die. You need to find your phone, your keys, check for night puke. Or not.
You owe me, man. Big time.
A good friend has seen all your personalities and knows how to deal with each of them.
So for those of you that were just listening, he had a big cock like Sharpied on his chest at the end because his friend, of course, had to put a Sharpie cock in his chest when he passed out. Oh my God. Yeah, so Cynthia, that reminds me of first of all, when's the last time that you had a big cock?
I knew
sharpie
that
on you?
was coming. Like, he's going to ask me. Okay. It was last summer, but it was with a dry erase marker, so it was easy to wash off. You're becoming predictable.
Who did that? Oh my gosh. What kind of friends do you have? Yes. Oh. That's predictable. Oh, I could have guessed that. Oh my goodness. Lost my train. Okay. So aside from Cynthia having cock sharpied on her chest all the time, so that man, helped his friends throughout the night. He was facing a tough challenge with his relationship, which is how it started out, which is usually how that starts out. If you're going to get that trash, it's usually over a woman as far as the guy goes. Or moving across country with, a menagerie of animals and children and pregnant women. But yeah, so it reminds me of what we're doing in this tribe, and I think you can recognize that. So I wanted to ask about what is it about a drunk man who, when a woman walks by, he's like, "Oh, boobies." Have you experienced that or seen other men where they kind of lose themselves in just this? How do I want to put this? I don't want to put too much judgment on this, but they've almost lost themselves, and we've degraded to just chasing sex, or it seems as though we're just chasing sex and physicality. And have you seen that? And what is that like for you, either in relationship or around other men who've, I use the word degraded again, themselves down to that place where it's only about, I just boobies. Tell us about that.
Well, that's an incredible question. And I think, women can do the same thing. I totally believe that we all have, core bottom drawer desires to connect, to be with other people, to have intimacy. And that's incredible. And all of us, I think, want to experience that on, higher levels of, intimacy and power and greatness. And what happens so much is we, either something kind of numbs us out, whether it's a substance like alcohol, or we've gotten hurt or rejected, so we purposely numb ourselves out. And then it's kind of like that desire, that realness that to me is very like sacred energy, to want to be intimate with someone, to appreciate their body. But when we get numbed out, it's like we've put a plastic sleeve across ourselves. And so the energy comes out in either out of proportion ways or in kind of hidden beneath the plastic ways. And that's why it doesn't feel wonderful to the other person, whether it's a woman on the other side of that, or if a woman's not owning her true desires and she's trying to be numbed out. I'm sure it feels disrespectful to you and disreverent and not in full appreciation of who you are and the power that you offer as a man in your heart and your mind and your body and your soul.
Yeah, that numbed out place. As far as our theme of this week of healing spiritual wounds. So I see Reuben raise his hand. I'd love that very much. Cynthia, I'd love for you to honor our chat here in a moment. And gentlemen, I'd love for you to raise your hand and or come in after Reuben and share with us, where do you feel right now that maybe you're numbed out and you want to kind of reach a hand up from the mud, or a space where you feel that there's a wound that you're working through, or you've accomplished what you feel is healing. Have you healed a spiritual wound? I'd love for you to share that on our show today. So yeah, Reuben, go ahead and unmute yourself and come in, please, bud.
Hey guys, hi everyone. I actually just had an awesome conversation with Jason Bradbury before the call, and I've been, making my, building myself up, and I was just talking to Jason. I was like, yeah, I'm building myself up, focusing on myself. It feels great. But my wife's putting distance, but I feel like right now I was like, oh, you want some distance? So I'm just like kicking the can even. I was like, I can give us even more distance. So I was just like telling them all that. And I, came to the conclusion that this is what's needed right now. And then, like a true brother, Jason turned to me and said, let me, tell you the reality, Reuben. Your relationship is over. There is no relationship. She avoids you, blah, blah, blah. And when he first said it, it hit me like that numb feeling. But at the same, so there must be still some kind of hurt in there, or some, I would say maybe even expectation. But with building myself stronger, I was able to feel that, but at the same time know that what I'm doing is the right thing. I need to build myself. I need to continue to get even stronger in what I'm doing and have that confidence and focus on this, because, I can't worry about what she's doing or worry about whatever relationship, because there is none. And it's actually amazing now. And I really thank Jason, because now I've added that to my mentality is my relationship is over. That's a reality. So it gives me even more oomph and more energy to move forward and build myself. But it did feel
thank you,
numb.
Reuben.
That second.
Yeah, I'm going to press.
Really numb.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to the numb feeling. I'm sure Cynthia can relate to the numb feeling. I want to press pause on you just for the sound. A few things there. Yeah, declaring the old relationship dead is something that we're terrified to do. And I'm glad that Jason has been there to point that out for you. So as I've said before, Jason Bradbury and Andy Malloy are co-coaches, are my coaches here within Good Guys, within, of course, our tribe, Great Men Move Mountains. And I'm an affiliate with Good Guys to Great Men. And there's a whole bunch of us that are doing this work within our tribe here. And I say a whole bunch, there's about 10 of us, and you guys know this, right? 10 of us coaches within the Good Guys to Great Men, and now there's 4 of us with Cynthia and Andy and Jason in Great Men Move Mountains. And we all have a different flavor of the way that we work. We all have different personalities. We all have different experiences. So every one of what I just said, 10 coaches, Dee Forstman, Tim Wade, all the other gentlemen around the world, and I could name them all, have different flavors of what we specialize in, what we've experienced. And so do Jason, and so does Andy, and so does Cynthia, and so do I. So I love that you guys are reaching out to each other. That's a huge piece of what this tribe is to post in the private chat. It's to post in the private Facebook group. It's to chat right now over this live show. That's why you're here. I love that. So Reuben, so cool. Yeah. What you said was, wow, there must be some expectation there. There must be some sadness there, because I felt numb. And I want to just call out, well, like, of course, of course. And I hope you don't think that that's not usual. I hope you don't think that that's something bad, that you have still sadness, or that you felt numb when that first hit you. So Reuben, if you unmute yourself, how do you have perspective? How are you tethered to that masculine presence as we talk about? How do you see what you're going through emotionally? Do you judge it? Looks like you might be busy right this second, so I'll come back in a second. But that's my rhetorical question for you guys is, it's all right, Reuben, it's okay. So are you judging your own self for the emotional spot that you're in, right? So I want to go ahead and open up to Hans. If you'd come on in, please, I'd appreciate it. Unmute yourself.
So I haven't realized my marriage is dead yet. It was on ICU, and now it's kind of been in a recovery bed for months. It's kind of discouraging at some points, but like the spiritual wounds, I mean, I've been combating that with the traditional sense. I mean, I actually found religion. I've been practicing it, and that's given me some grounding. But man, sometimes it goes from these little hints that things are coming back, and you're filled with, fresh energy, and then it's just like kind of one flight away from being down in the dumps and just wondering if this is just kind of treading water on the way to drowning. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I've been having a kind of a low moment in these last few days, and it's actually been helpful to reach out for some of the guys on the forum. But I don't know. It's up, and then it's down, and then it's up, and then it's down. It's just this kind of emotional roller coaster that, thank goodness, I found a way of grounding it somewhere. But and there's other things in my life that are kind of in limbo too, like everybody with this COVID mess going on with small businesses and things like that. And it's just, it's really hard to not tie that into the relationship that's also been this sort of major hurdle, this major stumbling point that just seems to be getting better just enough to be encouraged, but not enough to feel like it's like solid, you know, it's like in a positive way. It's almost like a stock market. It's like it's up and then it's down and then it's up and down, you know. It's kind of like, you know, where do you go from here?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, but I know what you mean. And when you said, and we're not all here to necessarily declare a relationship dead, right? That's one thing that women in our lives worry about. The woman that is on the other side of the camera here of you guys, that maybe they're not literally in the same house as you're talking with us, but once we say, hey, we're in this men's group and we're doing this men's work, a lot of women fear that we're just shitting on women, or that we're just shitting on a relationship, or preparing a man to leave, or preparing him for divorce. And that's not what we're doing. You know, you will become prepared to be on your own and confident within yourself through this work, because it's about you. There's you, there's her, and there's the relationship. This is about you being the amazing man that you want to be, and necessity for the relationship. So Hans, yeah, I know what you mean. And I don't want to say too many details of, you know, if you don't want to share them here, of what you're going through, but heard that she's kind of put down a lot of boundaries, like almost the pendulum has swung and now it's tons of boundaries, right? And she's trying to find herself. And so that's what I would say in short. And I'd love for you to talk about a woman who has swung, you know, like Hans's spouse, if you will, into, okay, I maybe didn't have boundaries before, or I feel like the relationship wasn't going the way that I wanted. This is a woman talking, and it's been 2 years down the road, and now she's kind of exploded. And we as the man have just, if you will, just recently found out. And she's been grieving for a long time, probably lots of things in her life. And now she's like, okay, now there's 10 boundaries. You have to talk to me this way. You can't say these things to me. You have to do it's like seemingly the pendulum has swung with tons of boundaries. So talk with us about that, please, so we can understand.
Yeah, I honestly I feel like I'm still searching in myself as a woman what boundaries mean to feminine energy. Because like when Jeff and I were having a discussion last night about this masculine, there's a lot of bugs around suddenly, this masculine power of having like a strategy for your life, and that the values you have they make up the cornerstones of that strategy. The boundaries that you have make up the fence posts of that strategy. And that is how you lead forth, and how you transmute and transform everything through that lens in your life. And when I practice strategies in my feminine energy, it feels like the opposite of feminine energy. So
when you practice boundaries?
Yeah, like I think there's a feminine way to do this that really still invites connection, that is still in flow, that is anchored and grounded, but without the rigid walls. And so if I take what you just asked me and I think back in my own process, so I started out as the nice girl, wanting to please, being incredibly anxious of other people in their life, how they were feeling around me. How can I make them feel better? How can I do it so they don't leave me? To then like the next level of like, that's fine, I don't need anyone, and I'm gonna like set these concrete walls around me, and this is how I'm strong and powerful, and this is how I won't feel hurt or disappointed. To then the next level of, for me, can a boundary be a less than solid state, something that keeps me grounded and anchored, but can also move with the masculine leadership in my life, or that I choose to offer. So I just wanted to offer that into the space, that if a woman in your life is suddenly being the ardent warrioress and like boundaries, and you will do this and not do this, that's not a be all the end all state, that there is a way for her to learn from that and grow, and then move to another side that encourages connection, that is in flow, but perhaps is more grounded than she was before.
So let me play Hans for a second, right? And that's a lot of us to help understand. And there's, I'm thinking as a man, well, what if she's not very good at setting boundaries in a feminine way, like you just described? What if she kind of sucks at it actually, and she's using this masculinity, this shield, to do that? So how can I, as a man, I cannot just fall into her frame. We cannot just follow her frame completely, because then she's in completely the masculine lead of the relationship, and that's not where we want. That's not where we want to be. It's not where we want her to be, us to be. Yet we're not going to say, well, I'm just going to do what I want and blah. We're not dismissing her in any way. But so how can a man acknowledge when she's in shielded masculine with all these boundaries, right? Acknowledge that and be his own self, or say something like, hey, I acknowledge what you said right there. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me. And I want you to feel like I'm here with you and connected with you. And I love that. And I'm not going to walk on eggshells in this relationship. So we'll have to see how this goes. And so how can a man, maybe what I just said is a good start, but how can a man in your perspective honor that and still say, look, I am going to be my own self and I'm not perfect? You smell really good apparently today.
Well, when you set boundaries as a man, you want to feel respected in them, right? So being in a place of respect, the boundaries she's setting up, because she is being in her masculine energy. So the masculine's looking for more of and she's a woman doing it. So she just wants to feel respected. And then you do your own thing, just like you said. So I respect the boundary you're setting, and this is the path, this is the frame I'm working on.
So Hans, let me jump back to you and ask, so if you just did some of the things we were talking about, where it's, hey, I respect you, I love you, this is what I want, I totally want to be there for you, which I'm sure you've said those things already, Hans, knowing you and seeing you on the forum. And she still says, this isn't working for me. Look, that right there, you wore a blue shirt today and that crossed my blue shirt boundary. And how dare you? Right. So if you cross a blue shirt boundary and you didn't even know, or it's a ridiculous, if you will. I mean, I shouldn't call it ridiculous. If it's a boundary that you don't necessarily feel you should abide by because it's a blue shirt boundary and that's not something that you're going to follow, how do you want to act as a man in that capacity, in that situation? What do you think?
Okay, so her boundaries right now are really don't make a romantic move. You can schedule dates and we can have conversations and things like that, but just don't even hold my hand type stuff. And we've been getting along well, which is just enough to keep it going, right? So we've been hanging out a lot. Sure. And it's been friendly, but it just seems like it's moving at such a glacial pace. It's hard to feel encouraged, at the same time. And then, so I'm respecting her boundaries, because obviously if somebody says don't touch her, don't touch her. That's a one that makes sense, even if it's your husband, whatever. But I think a lot of them are tests too, because I used to, I guess, drown out her conversations, our arguments. My opinion whatever my opinion would be, would always be there, and she felt like it was just kind of drowning out her opinion. I haven't tested that in a really long time, because I've been respectfully arguing. Well, I've been more stating my feelings and not really arguing as much.
Nice.
And just holding my own. And I have been enforcing my own boundaries of respect, especially in my parenting, especially, respect primarily, but specifically the parenting. If she is criticizing my parenting in the moment, and I know I'm not doing anything dangerous, I'm telling her, but I've been able to calm the rage down and keep it respectful, which is a big improvement for me. But I don't know if she still is remembering all these arguments where I was frustrated and those arguments did not go well. My voice tends to boom when we're in a serious discussion, and she just felt totally drowned out by it. And hopefully she's seeing that over time it's getting consistently better, but who knows? Because again, it's just that relationship is still in the hospital, right? It hasn't gotten to, the feeling of a romantic relationship. It doesn't feel like husband and wife. We've been buddies at best, and then co-parents at worst. Yeah.
Right. Good. So I want to say one other thing here, and if Cynthia has something to jump in, well, I want to say one other thing, and then we'll take a step forward, and we can certainly come back on some, another day or another question. So of course you've seen the 3 phases of coaching, or the 3 phases that I talked about here, which is stop, grow, and then ask. And it feels like to me, and I'll honor you by saying this, that it feels like you are really embracing the stop, and you've stopped the arguing, which is great. And you've stopped, let's say, expecting more than is appropriate right now in the relationship, which is awesome. And you're growing your own self. Like, you feel really present. And even, even though it's not, it's more of a friendship right now, it doesn't seem like the knife is continually stabbing you over and over at this exact moment. You're almost acknowledging. Is that fair to say, Hans?
That's very fair. Very fair.
Okay. And so you're in this, what I've called growth phase, growing the confidence within your own self. And you will, and this is going to be super vague right now, but you will, through this work, and this is what we do with coaching, right, guys, is get you to the place where you can then ask for what you want. And how to ask for what you want in a way where she feels honored and connected. Like, so let me give you one example. So Allison Armstrong, and you have to remind me the name again. It's honoring its partnership, the partnership audio that we've
Celebrating Partnership.
Celebrating Partnership. Again, phenomenal by Allison Armstrong. If you guys haven't got that, holy crap, it's like gold. And I haven't heard her stuff anywhere else the way she puts it in this program, Celebrating Partnership. She talks about healing the feminine and healing the masculine. And Hans, this may not be appropriate just yet, but I want to share it on the show here, which is healing the feminine has to do with, it doesn't have anything to do with belief, Allison says. It's not about belief that you hurt her or not. So she's like, blue shirts hurt my feelings, okay? So it's not that you believe that blue shirts hurt her feelings. It's that you're choosing a relationship and you're choosing to honor what she said in that blue shirts hurt her feelings. Now, obviously this is a metaphor. I mean, it's not really the blue shirts, but it's whatever when you raise your voice, when you talk with me that way, when you didn't remember to not order light cheese on the pizza, like my experience was in the past, you hurt my feelings. And I'm like, well, it's just fucking pizza. Well, yeah. And now I'm digging myself a hole if I think that. No, it's honoring that it hurt her. Doesn't have anything to do with whether we believe it or not, or that we have that same value, or that we believe it or not. It's choosing partnership in the fact that she says she's hurt. She says she's hurt by that. So here's my point. When you get into the ask phase, Hans, because you're asking for her to even be open to be healed by you. Okay, if you're not to the ask phase yet, then this kind of healing will just seem trite, like you read it out of a book, or what did you hear that in your cult of a man's group, right, Reuben? Like the cult. Like, where'd you hear this crap you're trying to shovel me? She probably wouldn't have as deep a voice as that right there, but she's going to think it's bullshit unless you're into the ask phase. Right? Yeah. And so here's how it goes. It's, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry that when I wore that blue shirt that it hurt your feelings.
Yeah, I've done that when we've gotten into conversations
Go ahead.
Finally happened, that I finally start to understand where I went wrong and got out of my own way to even open my ears to it. Because I don't know if you've seen some of the other posts. It's like there was a time where I just couldn't see it. Like, I didn't know what the hell she was complaining about. And I had to hit a pretty low point just to realize that, I was being a dick. I was being this grumpy mess that, I contributed big time to this problem. It's not just her fault. And so I've been working really hard on it. And I guess, yeah, I would have to put myself in the growth phase, but early on, and that feeling like it ought to be growing faster and all, so I guess
sure.
Bottom line is patience, but, yeah, no, it's just, it's like, it's almost like part of my life is just completely on hold, just trying to respect her, trying to meet her some way in the middle of our two kind of conflicts. And, yeah, again, not expecting too much, but also not getting very much either. So it's, but my wife is actually supportive of this group. I told her, it's like, I got to connect with guy friends, guy people, the sort of grievances and all these things, get those out of my chest. And the marriage counselor is very supportive of it too. So, I mean,
great.
Yeah, she knows that I'm all in on trying to improve this thing and improve myself for myself in the process. So maybe it's better than I'm giving myself credit for, but I don't know. It's just, it's like you're on a treadmill. You're working hard, but not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask Cynthia this. I know what you mean. So you are absolutely, you've made tremendous progress. So even us talking about this and you being centered as you are now, and like having let go a lot of the anger and being in this growth phase, you're definitely not at the starting line. I think what you're talking about is maybe the passion, the intimacy, the sexuality, like is still at level 0. Is that what you mean?
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so we as men tend to sometimes the scoreboard only shows one score, right? And we only track one thing, and that's a mistake, right? And I know you know that intellectually, but then it's like, yeah, Jeff, but come on, like we haven't had any passion or intimacy. So what is it like? I'll definitely want to talk about that more. Tomorrow's show, another time. Let's see. Brene Brown calls it the marble jar. And if the marble jar isn't full, then we're not going to get passion, connection, intimacy. It's almost like we have to work on filling the jar with marbles first, which is a different scoring system, right, guys? Okay, and that's what you're doing, Hans, right? It's you're hopefully no longer taking marbles out of the jar. You're putting marbles into the jar. That's hopefully what's going on right now. It's not the sex jar. that's
that's not even phase, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be content holding her hand right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have men I'm working with. That's the staircase of intimacy. That's our audiobook of how to start even holding her hand again. And you'll get there. We'll get there. It might take more time than you hope, but we'll get there. So from a woman's point of view, what is it like when we have kids? I'm just worried about my life. I'm worried about my career. And, let's say the man has hurt me because he wore a blue shirt 7 times and I asked him not to wear a blue shirt and he wore a blue shirt 7 times. And it's like, look, dude, I fucking asked you not to wear a blue shirt. And so she's closed off as far as passion, intimacy, sex. What's that like for her? And give us an idea as men as far as, we always want to know time frame, right? And by the way, Joseph, I saw your hand up and I'd love to get to you if we can today, if you're still willing here in a couple minutes. So talk with us. Men always want to know about time frame, right? So thank you, Hans. I'm going to press mute on you for now for pause. Is it we should wait X amount of time? Is it, when she's less stressed? Is it, okay, I need to throw away all my blue shirts as a first step and start taking other steps toward putting marbles into the jar? How can a man understand timeline, time frame, kind of know what Hans is talking about here?
That's an incredible question. And I just want to say, Hans, that there are times when you speak and then Jeff asks me a question and I'm like, I don't know what to say because Hans is such a leader. You are such a leader in your own life. I'm like, there's nothing I can add here other than to say, holy shit, your energy is, your smile, your presence is so compelling and so pulling to me. And I just have to think that means a whole heck of a lot for the number of marbles in your jar, because it's every time I see you, it's like a shift and a lightness that's different. So I just wanted to say that. And then, that this kind of ties into, Dan asked a question. He said, do women set boundaries to feel safe, or do women set boundaries to feel in control? And I think it's one and the same. It's like, if I'm in a little kind of an ocean of this hurts my feelings, I'm feeling disregarded, it feels like, I've just said to you, my partner, in my women's way, so you don't really hear it because it's very subtle. I've told you what I wanted, and
she was hinting the whole time.
You didn't pick up on the hints or how important they were, and there's nothing I can do to control that situation other than put up this boundary, this wall, and that's a very it's a way for her to kind of numb out. It's a way for her to function. It's a way for her to feel in control of her own masculinity. So again, to move that forward, because we all kind of know that, is there is, and again, we keep referencing this book, Celebrating Partnership by Alison Armstrong. Alison touches on something I know to be very true, that because women are so watery, the ability to heal and let something go in an instant is compelling. So she can hold on to it like in elephant years, or it can be like blowing away a piece of dandelion, like seed, like it's gone. And that really comes in the moments of saying, like, you know, I am sorry that I hurt your feelings in this way. I'm really sorry that this bothers you. And can you tell me, like, how this affects you in your body? Like, what does it make you feel? Like, what is your daily life like? Even if it's silly as when you wear that blue shirt, like, tell me what that experience is like for you. And truly just being present in that moment of like, I'm sorry that hurt your feelings. And that has an amazing ability to make something like a woman just go, oh, that's okay. And it probably feels like that's impossible right now if there's like all these stones of hurt, because you put one down and there's still 50 billion to go. But I feel like it's with conscious effort in like day-to-day, like kingly plan, even like thinking of the intention you have for this person in your life, of how you want them to be free of pain, to feel free of needing to control everything. That's like a exponential result. And I love how Jeff benchmarks things, like expect in 3 months of intention that there's going to be a big shift. Expect in 6 months, there's going to be a big shift. Expect in 9 months, there's going to be a big shift.
I love how you just said the intention, the positive regard that you hold for her can be a gigantic shift daily, even without you realizing how big it is.
Yeah, just as a human, like intending for someone as a human being, not even necessarily what I'm going to do for you, but just I want this person to feel free in their life and illuminated and uplifted and seen. And it doesn't have to be me who does all that. Like, you just want that for them. So.
That's cool. It doesn't have to be me trying to do something, just me having that intention for the world, or that spiritual intention for that person.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Awesome. Well, Hans, thank you so much. Oh, so cute. I love the picture. Awesome, buddy. Yeah, very nice. Very cool. Thank you, Hans. I appreciate it, bud. Hey, Joseph, are you still on? Would you love to come in? I know you were waiting a while. I really appreciate that. And you were so honoring to put your hand back down, but I'd love for you to come in if you can. Go for it.
Yeah. I don't really remember what that first question was, by the way. Well, I can talk about boundaries.
It says at what point does one decide to declare an official time of death to a relationship? That was the first question.
So I feel like I just crossed that. So I'm probably 3 months, or just at 3 months being separated. And so that was rock bottom for me. I was broken, and then slowly over time working with Jeff, and then having a tribe, really putting myself out there, getting out of my comfort zone, building existing relationships, and, reaching out, creating new relationships has been huge for me. And slowly over time, I've gotten more and more confident. And I guess it was just the realization that I do want my wife to be happy, but that's no longer a positive influence on my life. I need to do what's best for me at this time. My wife was the one who wanted space, but she didn't exactly have any boundaries or anything. So she just came and gone as she pleased. She would ghost me for days or even a week at a time, then reach out, being super friendly. And over time, it's got incredibly frustrating, and it's just toxic to me. And so just recently, last night, actually, I said I wanted to go no contact, and the conversation went really well. I was able to actually listen to her hurts, things she's still holding on and angry about, and just be there. And like we actually held hands, which we haven't done in forever. We hugged when she left. Everything was calm. I was good. I feel like I'm finally detached from the outcome. Like, I do see a future with her. I wouldn't be engaged if not. Like, I wouldn't still be in this, willing to work on things if I didn't see that. But I'm no longer attached to that outcome. And I see positivity in my life regardless. And I want her to be happy too. And that doesn't have to be with me. Like that used to make me cringe thinking about her with someone else. And I don't feel like that anymore. And it comes with doing this work and being confident, creating new relationships with other people. Like I want that in my life. And Jeff and Cynthia have been a huge part of that for me.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
Joseph.
you.
That's so fantastic.
Thank you.
So let me ask you. So you said new relationships in your life, doing this work. Are there a couple of keys or linchpins within this work that you realize? So say a man came, a week ago to the forum, which we have at least a half dozen men every single week that join our forum, guys. So, so there's a man, let's say there's a man new to the forum. He's like, okay, yeah, I just got this book called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm just starting to post. What are some of the first key linchpins, would you say, for that man, Joseph? What do you think?
For me, is creating what those core values are, focusing on what the actual priorities in life are, what's important to you. And a huge thing for me, and what I resonate with you, Jeff, like you talked about your Hulk. I had all these emotions that were driving the bus constantly. And it was never even a thought in my mind to think about how my body reacts to certain things, what those feelings are. And now, like, I'm cool. I can feel things coming on when I'm feeling anxious or angry, and I can just take a deep breath. So, like, your phase one, stop fucking up. That's huge. Like, get yourself under control. Do not let your emotions drive the bus. Would be like where I would start. Stop fucking up.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing. I know there's a ton more. I could ask you another question, but I'm looking at the times. Like, we could keep going, but we'll pause there. Thanks for coming on, dude. That's so good. And I'm sure you guys will support Joseph in the chat. And I want to just anticipate and say, it's never about us feeling it's a fucking magical, fairyland. I want to, like, we can teleport ourselves into some other Disneyland world. It's not about that. It's about the marbles into our own jar, as Brene Brown was saying, or as Cynthia was saying. And maybe those marbles are smaller than we thought. And maybe all of a sudden they fill up faster than we expected when we let go, right? When that 2x4 of clarity, as Steve Horseman would say, hits us, like it seems to have in the past couple of weeks with Joseph, it's not because of one magical thing that's happened. It's a culmination of all these things together. It's the soup of all the ingredients of this work. And you never know, maybe you're going to throw some cayenne in and it like really has got the fucking kick that you want. And you didn't expect that to be the linchpin for the soup. And that happens to be what it is. And then it's all right. It's on to the next course of the meal, the next course of my life, the next course of relationship, the next course of this men's work. And so I honor you guys so much for being here and there for that. So Cynthia, what do you want to share with the men, or what kind of overall feedback have you seen on our show today that you want to bring to them? And let's honor our men, and we'll close it out for today.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. Again, it's a privilege to sit here with you. It's a privilege to sit here with you. Normally I don't get to sit next to you. So I like that. I appreciate feeling your leadership energy. And I loved, Jeff, what you just said about the, it's not just the one dish. It's the multiple dishes to come. It's not the one ingredient. And I think that is, Jason had posted earlier in the chat when I was talking about the incredibleness of masculine energy, where you take the stone and you dive into the water and you move it and you transmute it and come out with gold on the other side. Your ability to use strategy and to change the strategy of your life and with holding on to the values that you have, the boundaries that you have, and with this perspective that life is not just this immediate moment, that this is a long-term growth journey, vision. It is the biggest gift to that feminine energy, where we tend to be a little bit more self-absorbed in like the emotional experience of the moment. And if something's like horrible and angry and painful in the moment, it's like it's going to be like that forever. So of course women need to grow in that way, but your leadership in this, and your groundedness, and your humility, and what it's like to be a true warrior, it astounds me. And I thank you for modeling this for the world and for the people in your life and for the little people that you're carrying along with you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, whether you're modeling for your literal children or, metaphoric children in your community, in your job, in your relationship, in the world, we love you guys being here so much. Yeah, Walters and Tim, good to see you again, Tim, Reuben, and Robert's here. Awesome, Rob's here. Paul and Randy and Kent and Patrick, Jason and Joseph. You guys are phenomenal. Jack, Harry, Dave, Dan, Andy, and Hans again. You guys are so fantastic. So thank you so much. This has been the C Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. We're here every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And if you haven't checked out our brand new small group coaching that we're launching by the end of this month, we're already half full. We just had another man yesterday literally sign up, so more than half full at this point. We're only looking for 2 other men between now and in the next 2 to 3 weeks before we launch our small group coaching program. It's all the most powerful tools that we use in our one-on-one coaching. It's also the power of a small group of men to share some shit. I had men the other day tell me he's actually looking forward to that because he wants to be able to share powerfully in a situation that's not, these are going to go on YouTube, guys, and we're also sharing these online. And that to help all men around the world and men 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And the small group that we're doing isn't going to be shared outside. The recordings won't be shared outside the small group. If we even press record on those to share with men who can't show up, that's going to be a closed, private, secret group of men that we're going to launch by the end of this month. It's powerful. It's economical. So go to greatmenmovemountains.com/relaunch to check that out. I have a promo video there, tons of information, and you can punch in your info that if you want to be a part of that group. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on the C Note Show. Thank you so much for being here. We love you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves.